But the optics of the speech, specifically the two Marines positioned behind him during it, are raising questions about whether the military was being unnecessarily politicized here.
Despite the fact that there are real things that you can criticize President Joe Biden over, like his broken promise on cannabis decriminalization, no mention of a public option since becoming president, or he was obviously too kind to Mansion and Cinema after sinking his Build Back Better agenda, there are instead really stupid criticisms coming from at least two people at CNN over Biden's speech about rising fascism in America. So let's get to that, because this is, as I'm going to get to, showing how CNN is moving even further right. So near the end of this video, I will be discussing a little more on that and why, likely why that is happening. But first, let me start with just what sparked this criticism from CNN, or at least a particular CNN host. So here is Biden's speech. Here he is standing, and it's scary, satanic red, as the right has called out. But also, there are Marines in the background. Apparently, this is a big deal. So, Brianna Keilar, a host at CNN, and I think I'm pronouncing her last name right, but I may not be. I don't really care. Anyways, says, whatever you think of this speech, the military is supposed to be apolitical. Positioning Marines in uniform behind President Biden for a political speech flies in the face of that. It's wrong when Democrats do it. It's wrong when Republicans do it. Ah, yes, Joe Biden. Who cares? He's talking about rising fascism and the actual threat to real democracy. No, what's really important, what we should be at least partially focusing on, are these two Marines in uniform in the background. I will get to, as I said, why CNN is being so insane, even more insane than usual. But this is what came out of this tweet from the night of the speech. The next morning, here's Brianna Keilar on CNN. Check out this chyron here. Biden faces criticism over Marines in backdrop of speech. Oh, faces criticism. I wonder where that came from. You. You're the critic. You're the one that brought it up. This is the shit that Fox News has done for ages. They create some ridiculous criticism out of nowhere, and they say, oh, Obama's facing criticism over this, or Biden's facing criticism over this, when they're the ones that made it up. So Parker Malloy here on Twitter points us out, saying, I think this is a perfect screenshot, and it shows exactly what's wrong with the press right now. Brianna Keilar was one of the loudest voices creating this criticism, and now she's reporting that Biden faces criticism over Marines in backdrop of speech. You did that. Again, this is Fox News has done this shit for ages, and now CNN is beginning to do it as well. And worth pointing this out. So check out, this is a really quick clip, 11 seconds long. Here's a speech during Trump's presidency. Let's watch this together, okay?
Back if you want, don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Let's go to Boris Sanchez now. He is at the White House. Tell us.
Anything about the Marines in the background? We got some Marines here. Better call this out. I can guarantee you, I tried to find the full clip, I couldn't find it, but I can guarantee you that Brianna Keilar did not bring up the scary, or not scary, but the Marines in the background and how this should be apolitical. But here Trump is being political because they got Marines back there. Meanwhile, he's defending his racist attacks on the squad here in this video. Again, showcasing, and look, likely, I mean, maybe in another time he would have been criticized for this if this was a different president with a different speech. But because Trump has, kind of set things to a different bar, a different level, the idea of criticizing anybody right now, any president, over optics, over aesthetics, is completely insane, at least until Trump actually faces some repercussions for his obvious and consistent illegality as president. So until something is done about what Trump did as president and continues to do, stealing top secret documents is like, almost the bottom of the list in terms of what he's done. Until he's actually faces, any conviction or something, for what he has done. The idea of criticizing any president over optics, to me, is completely insane. So, just the idea here of focusing on whether it's the red background that the right is focused on or the Marines in the background, it shows you just how different things are depending on what party's in charge. Anyways, let's go on. So here's another example. This guy also from CNN, and again, I'll get to later on why CNN is being so crazy, but Jeff Zeleny here, his title is Chief National Affairs Correspondent, says there's nothing unusual or wrong with a president delivering a political speech. It's inherent to the job description. First of all, how does a president deliver an apolitical speech? Isn't anything the president says inherently political? But going on here, I mean, there's so much you can criticize with these morons. It's inherent to the job description, but doing it against a backdrop of two Marines standing at attention and the Marine Band is a break with White House traditions. I hope I saved this tweet. Someone pointed out this. It's so funny to me that this is what political reporters think their job is. To focus on, White House norms over the staging of a speech, as opposed to maybe what is actually happening in the country with rising fascism. Or you want to focus on Biden, fine, criticize him over his broken promises. But to focus any attention at all over the backdrop of a speech as a political reporter, how do you not realize you are wasting people's time? Not to mention wasting resources, the endless resources that CNN has. But again, they wouldn't be hired and working in these jobs if they didn't want these people wasting time like this. And we will get to that shortly. But a response here from David Wiseman. I'm a veteran and I consider President Biden's speech to be patriotic. Republicans declared war against us on January 6th, and they continue to attack what America stands for. They defend a criminal who's stolen classified documents. They act like America's enemy. So, yeah, of course, there's nothing wrong with, Marines standing in the background. No one cared. By the way, just to be clear here, I don't care about these Marines. I care about Trump defending his racist remarks. So whether it's Trump with Marines or Biden with Marines, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. What matters is what you are actually saying and what you actually do, and your impact on society with what you are doing or what you were saying. Now, let's get to what is happening at CNN here, right? So this is gives you a little indication. New CNN boss, Chris Licht, wants staff to stop calling Trump's election claims the big lie. So they've already eliminated the ability for their host to accurately describe Trump's false claim that he won the election. Another example here, Brian Stelter, who by no means is anywhere on the left, but was simply had a show where he, yes, at times correctly criticized how insane the right wing was. And apparently because of that, he got his show canceled. So Brian Stelter to depart CNN as it cancels reliable sources. And this most recent CNN reporter here who actually did real work, John Harwood here, apparently, actually, before I get to him leaving, I already spoiled it. But here he is talking about Biden's speech. The core point Joe Biden made about a threat to democracy is true. As journalists, we're taught not to take sides in honest disagreements between parties. But these are not honest disagreements. The GOP right now is led by a dishonest demagogue. This, I gotta say, I'm actually surprised that a well-known journalist from a cable news station actually pointed this out, because this is the kind of garbage I've been calling out for years now. There is no both sides. There is objective reality. And who is or isn't acknowledging objective reality? If most of Republicans are not acknowledging the results of an election, they are objectively wrong. They are on the wrong side. Calling that out is not being, political or being biased against Republicans. It's calling out reality. So John Harwood simply pointing out here that right now the GOP is led by a dishonest demagogue. This is not an honest disagreement between parties. We're talking about fascists versus people that are not fascists. That's the discussion. So Harwood, of course, a solid report here. And now he's leaving CNN. So likely pushed out, likely fired, because he is actually good at his job. Personal news, today's my last day at CNN. Proud of the work. Thanks to my colleagues. I've been lucky to serve the best in American media. So St. Petersburg Times, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, NBC, CNN. Look forward to figuring out what's next. So because he is figuring out what's next, I have to assume that he's been let go by CNN. Just nuts. And we're going to get to why. So John Malone controls CNN. He also donated to the Trump Save America PAC that was formed after the 2020 election, specifically to help Trump try to cling to power. When CNN says neutrality, they mean, quote, even more biased in favor of the right. CNN has always been center-right. And by the way, this line here blows the minds of the right wing, because they can't possibly fathom how CNN has been right-wing. They've been right-wing because they are pro-massive corporation. All of their reporting has always been pro-right-wing in favor of economic issues. Now, if you want to say they're left-wing because they may have acknowledged at one time or acknowledged that gay rights is good, then you're acknowledging that basic human rights is left, which at this point, I guess it is, but I would consider that to be just, I don't know, the center or common knowledge. But CNN has always been right-wing, and now they are moving more towards actually trying to, entice a more right-wing viewer base by being a lot kinder to the Trump MAGA morons while criticizing Biden over, a couple Marines in the background, as if that matters at all. But on the point of John Malone here, so who is he? He's a conservative billionaire investor in the company who sits on its board. So more on that here. If you want to check out Vox, they go into John Malone. But just, it shows you that CNN hosts, people that work there now, are recognizing what is going to get them to keep their job. So I'm not sure if Brianna Keilar has any actual, real principles, positions. I know she has done some good work in the past. I think I've covered some of her good work in the past. But she clearly, I think, is recognizing what's happening now at CNN, that you have to be more right-wing to maintain your position there. And she finds a way to criticize Joe Biden while he is giving a speech about an actual threat to democracy.